Constructivist or constructivism. What is meant by constructivism? It refers to the idea that learners construct knowledge for themselves. Each learner individually and socially construct meaning as he or she learns. Constructing meaning is learning. There is no other kind. The dramatic consequences of this view are twofold. The first one is we have to focus on the learner in thinking about learning, not on the subject or lesson to be taught. The second one is there is no knowledge independent of the meaning attributed to experience or constructed by the learner or a community of learners. This is the advanced organizer of constructivism. We have here the views of constructivism, characteristics of constructivism, and the organizing knowledge. So in the views of constructivism, we have the individual and the social constructivism. By the way, I have a quotation here by William Butler Yeats. He says that teaching is not filling up a pail, it is lighting a fire. So let's talk about the views of constructivism. There are two views of constructivism, the individual and social constructivism. For the individual constructivism, this is also called cognitive constructivism. It emphasizes individual, internal construction of knowledge. It is largely based on Piaget's theory. Proponents of this type choose child-centered and discovery learning. They believe the learners should be allowed to discover principles through their own exploration rather than direct instruction by the teacher. While in social constructivism, this view emphasizes that knowledge exists in a social context and is initially shared with others instead of being represented solely in the mind of an individual. It is based on Vygotsky's theory. Here, construction of knowledge is shared by two or more people. Now, let's discuss about the characteristic of constructivism. Whether one takes the individual or social view of constructivism, there are four characteristics that these two views have in common. According to Egan and Kokak, these are: learners construct understanding. New learning depends on current understanding. Learning is facilitated by social interaction, and meaningful learning occurs within authentic learning tasks. So, learners construct understanding. Constructivists do not view learners as just empty vessels waiting to be filled up. They see learners as active thinkers who interpret new information based on what they already know. They construct knowledge in a way that makes sense to them. Next is the new learning depends on current understanding. Background inform is very important. It is through the present view or scheme that the learner has that new information will be interpreted. Next is the learning is facilitated by social interaction. Constructivists believe in creating a community of learners within classrooms. Learning communities help learners take responsibility for their own learning. And lastly, for the characteristic of constructivism is the meaningful learning occurs within authentic learning tasks. An authentic task is one that involves a learning activity that involves constructing knowledge and understanding that is so akin to the knowledge and understanding needed when applied in the real world. Now let's discuss the organizing knowledge. Here are the concept. What is the meaning of concept? A concept is a way of grouping or categorizing objects or events in our mind. A concept of teach includes a group of tasks such as model, discuss, illustrate, explain, assist, and etc. Concept as feature list. Concept as prototypes. and the concept as exemplars. Concept as feature list. Learning a concept involves learning specific features that characterize positive instance of the concept. Included here are defining features and correlational feature. So, what is defining feature? A defining feature is a characteristic present in all instances, while the correlational feature is one that is present in many positive instances but not essential for concept membership. Next is the concept as prototypes. A prototype is an idea or a visual image of a typical example. It is usually formed based on the positive instances that learners encounter most often. And lastly, the concept as exemplars. Exemplars represents a variety of examples. It allows learners to know that an example under a concept may have variability. Making concept learning effective. As a future teacher, you can help students learn concept by doing the following. Provide a clear definition of the concept. Make the definition features very concrete and prominent. Give a variety of positive instances. Give negative instances. Cite a best example or prototype. Provide opportunity for learners to identify positive and negative instances. Ask learners to think of their own example of the concept. And lastly, point out how concepts can be related to each other. Schemes and scripts. A schema is an organized body of knowledge about something. It is like a file of information you hold in your mind about something. Like a schema of what a teacher is. A script is a schema that includes a series of predictable events about a specific activity. Now, applying constructivism in facilitating learning. Aim to make learners understand a few key ideas in an in-depth manner rather than taking you so many topics superficially. Give varied examples. Provide opportunities for experimentation. Provide lots of opportunities for quality interaction. Have lots of hands-on activities. Relate your topic to real-life situations. And do not depend on the explanation method all the time. So that's all.